was like, how long is the
As long as we want it to be. Good evening, good evening. Hey, welcome back.
Good evening, good evening.
What are you?
Am I live on Facebook?
I'm hoping.
Okay.
Should be.
All right.
Let's make sure we're everywhere we need to be.
Welcome to the 6th episode of At the Helm with Kelli and Wayne.
Yes.
We have, I think, a great show in store for you tonight. Yes. I feel like this may be a part 1 of the show. We may have to do a part 2. I don't know about this one. We'll see how this goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yes. But definitely excited.
It's a lot we're gonna try to get packed into this to this 1 hour.
Yes.
But we hope that you'll stay with us.
Yes.
So I mean, since our last podcast, it seems like everything is still the same. More mass shootings, more white nationalists taking over state houses.
Yes.
So that's kind of what we'll be talking about tonight.
A little this evening.
I know here in North Carolina, they have pushed through an abortion ban that bans abortion after 12 weeks. I don't know that a lot of women even know that they're pregnant before 12 weeks, but I mean, it's just amazing that they want to control women's bodies, and they're pro-life until the life gets here.
Yes.
And then they don't have any policies to protect those lives.
Yes.
They were against the child care tax credit. They're against family medical leave. They're against expanding Medicaid. They're against a minimum living wage. So it seems like they're pro-birth, not necessarily pro-life. So we have that going on in North Carolina. Also, we've had our North Carolina Supreme Court who switched to the Republican-leaning side with this last election, him and his sound effects. So they have reversed voting rights for those who have done their time. They're not incarcerated anymore. They may still have been on probation, but they are working, because part of probation is you have to pay probation fees.
Mm-hmm.
So they're giving back to their communities. They're raising families. They're going to work, but for some reason they don't want them to vote. So without a new case, without a new statute, without a new precedent, they just reversed it.
Yep.
So now the formerly incarcerated, those who are impacted by this injustice system.
And what they're saying initially right now is they want to make sure that you have to be off probation, you have to be off parole, and you have to be totally clear of your case. But again, as soon as people get off of that, they'll move the goalposts again. So they'll just continue to do this until they can continue to suppress the votes. And we'll just continue to see them select the voters instead of the voters select them. So that's kind of what we're having to deal with. And they just continue to do what they do, but we're going to continue to fight and continue to deal with that. And that's some about kind of what we're going to talk about this evening too.
I wasn't done.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought I might get shot.
I was just going to run like you can, but we're going to. So
it does say Kelli and Wayne.
It does.
Go ahead.
But it's mostly Kelli though.
Oh, go ahead. You good. Go ahead.
But so another bill that they kind of reversed was voter ID. That one's a little iffy because the people in North Carolina voted for voter ID. But again, the Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional. So again, this is why it's important to vote, people. Like voters vote. Elections have consequences. So that was another one that they reversed. And so what we will kind of be talking about tonight, they also have put in laws that are anti-LGBTQ, specifically surrounding drag shows and some other things, which, I don't really understand the law. But we're going to have someone on tonight who can shed a little light on drag shows and who will give us maybe proper terminology. I don't even know if drag show is is what they call them. We'll talk about pronouns. I know he has some opinions about that, and he also has opinions about whether this is a fight for Black people, Black LGBTQ people. So we're going to bring him up. I know him as Dennis Bullock. I've known him since he was a kid, like he was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and just a few years older than my daughter. And our parents and grandparents lived close together, so he would often come to our house to play with Nikki and with my daughter. And so even then he had, like a different identity. So I know that this is something that is innate. It's not something that I don't know if the people choose this, but I know that as a kid, he was destined to be, I don't know, a performer. I don't even know if you want to call it that, but so we're going to bring Dennis up, and I'm going to let Dennis introduce himself. So welcome to the show, the fabulous Karmyn. Karmyn, you going to tell us about that?
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, my born name is Dennis Bullock. First of all, thank you, Wayne. Thank you guys so much for having me, Miss Kelly. I really appreciate this opportunity so much. Let me say that first and foremost.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to join us, and we're just excited to have you with us this evening.
Thank you. Well, I am currently these days working as a stand-up comedian. My stage name is the fabulous Karmyn. I'm known for my over-the-top Las Vegas fashions and my raw sense of humor jokes because, one thing that I say is life doesn't edit out the BS, so why should I with the jokes? And so I try to find humor in everything. And so that's my stage name, the fabulous Karmyn. The linebacker Barbie comes from, basically me teaching myself to turn negatives into positives, kind of like how we do with the N word, where we take the power out of it and then we use it as, a term of endearment. Well, for me, being considered a linebacker in a wig back in the day, made me flip the script on that and call myself the linebacker Barbie. And so that's how I turned the negative into a positive, and it's made me money. And so the fabulous Karmyn, the linebacker Barbie, are the names that I'm known for. And most of the time I announce myself as, "Ow, it's your favorite queen with a ding-a-ling, the linebacker Barbie, the fabulous Karmyn. Ow, get you some." And so that's that voice. I've hosted BBW Radio. I've hosted the BBW Awards Las Vegas. I've hosted the Hall of Fame edition in Hollywood most recently. I have gotten to create opportunities for myself where doors have been closed to me. And it's amazing, Miss Kelly, that you started off with mentioning how you knew me, because for a fact I was a little barefoot country kid that loved pork chops and Soul Train, and that's how I learned to learn your family and met you guys. And actually, that's why we would always go to your mother's house, Miss Helen's house, as children. It was because we could watch Soul Train, because our grandmother, Dr. May, won't have it. She watched her stories, and that's what it was. But now at Miss Helen's house, children ruled. So I always loved going to your mother's house growing up because we could be barefooted. We was going to eat. Miss Tootsie would be sitting right there in her sun window, and honey, we'd be watching Soul Train and dancing to all the records, and it was good times in Miss Helen's living room. And I mean, truly, I felt like she knew that I was a different child because I actually told this lady that my name was Janine. When I was at Miss Helen's house, my name wasn't Dennis, it was Janine. Do you remember that, Kelly?
I do. I do remember that. Even at 6 or 7, you already were destined for a different path. Like, we do this.
I miss them days. This is back in the days when I had ankles, honey. Where I used to walk around in your mother's kitchen on my tiptoes, like I was in high heels, and because I used to watch Miss Helen in her high heels, and so literally like watching Miss Helen, watching my cousin, watching my grandmother in those days wearing her church flats. I was just fascinated with the things that women got to wear and do because it just seemed like it was so much more interesting than men's clothes.
You're just bringing back so much nostalgia now. Like, my grandmother has been gone probably 28 years. But when you say she was sitting in her sun window, like she loved that little spot at the sliding glass door where she could see
everything.
what was going on. And looking out that window, she was actually looking into your grandmother's front door. So our grandparents, my grandma and your grandma, they were friends.
Oh yeah, definitely. And all the cousins and your family and everybody used to hang and play with each other. And I remember you guys in your younger years when I guess we were closer in your teen years. I remember that vividly.
Don't talk about it.
Because Miss Kelly, you've always been a very beautiful woman, and especially your daughter Nikki. I love playing with Nikki. Nikki was my first friend that was a girl that I could play with her dolls, and she didn't see nothing wrong with that. I remember that about Nikki. Whatever toy Nikki had, I had it.
Yeah.
When she ate, I ate. And that was one thing about Miss Helen. Miss Helen was gonna cook her.
And it's interesting, like she did cook. I don't think she liked it, and that's kind of what I picked up then. And so I'm not really a cook now because I was like, my mama hated being in the kitchen cooking for all these kids. So when
I couldn't tell.
when I grow up, I'm not gonna do things that I really don't want to do. So cooking was one of those things. So like I said, I knew you as a little boy, but time passed. We lost connection. I'm just now getting back into really, back connected with you. And I know now that there's a lot that has gone on in your life since Dennis was 10 and Dennis is, I know you're in your 30s now. I don't want to tell all your business, but
I'm 37.
So just talk to us a little bit about, so first, I don't know, we talked about what's happening in the North Carolina legislative building, what they're doing over there. Why are they just so consumed with what goes on in the LGBTQ community? What do you think? And what is it about the drag show specifically? So talk to me about that, or talk to me about, what your drag show consists of. And do we call them drag shows? Is that what we're supposed to call them?
Well, for me personally, I've always hated the word drag, but let's have a little history lesson here, okay? Drag originates from Shakespeare because women were not allowed to do theater in the Shakespearean era, if that's the word. And so, according to Shakespeare's script, if you saw the word drag, D-R-A-G, it meant dress as girl. So the men that did the theater within Shakespeare, they would know they had to dress as a girl. And so that's where the word drag came from, was from Shakespeare. So that's a little history lesson for those who don't know that. And so moving forward into 2023, and I say this lovingly from a loving place, from the bottom of my heart, honey. Ain't nobody trying to perform for these punk ass, broke ass children, okay? I think that's gonna be the only time that I'm gonna cuss, okay? Them children ain't got no money, okay? They mama and daddy got the money. Why do I want to perform for your punk ass, broke ass children, honey? No, keep them at home where they belong. I feel like I'd be wasting my time and answering 1,000 questions if I would go through anything like I do with my godchildren. And once again, I say that from a loving place.
With much love, much love. I guess we should have given the disclaimer. We normally do a disclaimer on our show. So Wayne, let's go ahead. Let's do this disclaimer first.
Not necessarily the host of At the Helm.
Wait. Okay, you're gonna get this. Gonna get a little box together.
Here we go.
Expressed by guests on At the Helm podcast belongs solely to them and not necessarily the host of At the Helm podcast.
There we go. We get that out of the way. And also, I want to give a second disclaimer for the Super Save. This might not be the show for you tonight. We're just going to go ahead and just delve in. We're just going to talk real talk. So if you are worried about your salvation, we're talking about again. So what would you call your show? If we don't want to use the word drag, what would we call the shows?
I call them cabaret.
Cabaret?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Dinner cabaret shows like the one that we're having this Saturday, May 6th, featuring the Gwen Factor, myself, and then Mr. Rob Wright and Gerald Brown. It's a great show, pretty much dinner and a show. Cabaret is where, we kind of clean it up versus giving it the taboo word of saying, oh, comedy/drag show. It seems to be a taboo word right now. And so one thing that we're trying to do is keep things respectful, encourage people to come out to enjoy the art form, but don't think that they're affiliating themselves with something filthy or obscene or sinful. It's nothing like that. I've always been there for the jokes. I only perform for adults because my comedy is raw, not because my comedy is necessarily from a pervertnized standpoint or something that would be considered nasty. Now, do I curse? Oh, yes, absolutely, like a sailor. But I spit facts, you know what I'm saying? And also from the, pages of my own story, I share life lessons that I've learned where hopefully people can skip over the mistakes I've made and achieve where I failed. So that's what I hope to deliver with telling my story, A Hustler and a Queen. And so, which is the name of my stand-up act that I travel with.
I like that name, and I don't want to gloss over. So we're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, and so the address that you gave, I think, is that Chapel Hill. That's close to us. So anybody?
Yes, that's Chapel Hill. Yes, it is.
Okay,
but it's not out in the middle of nowhere. It's a family restaurant that's been there since 1992. And I actually used to work for John. I actually chose Dockside because this was the first place that ever actually gave me a job when I was 18 to, get out in the world on my own. And so living between Chapel Hill and Apex in those days, I had a job as a waiter. And so that was before there was a Karmyn or Dreams for Hollywood or anything that I wanted to achieve moving forward. So yeah, it's been that long. So I felt like with me moving to go to Las Vegas, that would be the perfect place to come full circle, to have one more show in North Carolina and, say goodbye. If people show up, they show up. They don't, they don't. I just know for me that spiritually it's a completion.
Oh, full circle. So that was tomorrow night, you said, May the 5th?
No, May 6th, Saturday.
So Saturday at what time?
That'll be 8 p.m. Showtime is at 8 p.m. I would encourage everybody to be there by 7 so you can get your dinner order in. And then showtime will be at 8 o'clock. We're going to make it do what it do.
All right.
Yeah, but don't be expecting this, though. You know what I'm saying? I put on my hair and about 10 pounds of makeup, honey. I put on all my jewels. I got to look Hollywood, honey. I don't play.
Well, it's just amazing that, that there are, legislators, groups of people, and not only North Carolina, but, nationally that just have, an issue with this entertainment where, when you were kind of talking about your show and, the cabaret, there are comedy shows that travel this nation that really the only difference may be in the comedy show and the cabaret show is the outfits that people wear. So, I don't understand how, people can go to comedy shows where, the language is going to be the language. They talk about maybe some of the same things y'all talk about. It's the same entertainment to me, kind of. There's just a different dress. And how someone can just get so bent out of shape about that when they probably maybe even attend some of the other comedy shows.
Well, because some fashion choices of other performers, not myself. I mean, as far as any show that I have ever done my entire career, I've always had on a designer gown. The moment that as soon as I could learn better, I did better. That's how I have done my career. And so once I found someone that could sew for me, I have known nothing but absolute glamour. And so I try to represent myself well, and I choose to do that because first and foremost, I'm seen as Black. So whether they see me as a Black male or a Black female, I choose to represent myself well. So you can call me a drag queen all day, honey. They gonna say absolutely one thing's for sure. Oh, that's one of the most glamorous and put together queens I've ever laid eyes on. And so that's how I try to carry myself, because I do remember that I'm Black first and foremost. And so as far as other entertainers, they choose to wear the thongs and have the boobs out. And I mean, that type of entertainment is okay, but that is when it is classified as adult entertainment. And so, some numbers can become racy, where queens decide to over sexualize or give it a delivery where, it appears almost like a strip tease. But it's all for entertainment value. And all the queens that I know, we're just trying to put on a good show. We're not trying to convert anyone. We're not trying to make anyone think any different. We just want you to enjoy the oohs and the ahs, of what we go through to, be men that make beautiful women, whether we tell you jokes, whether we dance, whether we lip sync, whatever it is that we decide to do to entertain you.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. And I just don't understand the issue that so many people have with that. Again, if I go see Cat Williams, if I go see Dave Chappelle, if I go see any other comedian, there's no group of people who are trying to say, oh, they're trying to turn you into them. They're trying to make you a comedian. They're trying to make you be them. But when the same entertainment comes out dressed differently, now all of a sudden, it's an issue. I
think it's more than just. I think we know what this is. It's like I alluded to before. It's the LGBTQ community that people are so obsessed with. Like they're obsessed because.
See, that's the thing. Not to cut you off, Miss Kelly. That's the thing. As Black, queer, LGBT, and if that's what we're called, because me personally, I don't identify as LGBT, and it's only because I don't like what it has become to represent. And so I see myself as an individual, just like I don't see myself as gay, straight, or any of those things. I just see myself as a sexual being. I enjoy sex. I don't say that I'm homosexual. I don't say that I'm heterosexual. I just enjoy sex. And so that's just me as an individual. I love wearing makeup. I love my nails. I have a side of me that's very masculine, and I have a side of me that's very feminine, but I know who I am and I know who God is. And so I don't lose focus of that. I think that for a lot of people out there, what's going on these days, why things seem to be running so rampant, is because we make it too hard to live and face our reality for what it is. So I think a lot of gay boys that are broken, where there are no resources available in their community to help them when they are a sexual abuse survivor or a domestic violence survivor, or someone who's been disowned by the system because they have grown too old, where once you're 18, the system is not responsible for you anymore. So there are no resources for our Black boys except for maybe 2 or 3, which is either be dead, become a thug, or be a punk in the street. And those are the only choices that we have, because think about it. Most queer Black boys are shunned from their families. They're disowned. Most of the time, the backstory is they were molested by someone else in the family, but for whatever reason, the elders sweep it under the rug and keep it moving. And so the rest of the family agrees on the same story of calling that family member, crazy. And that's a story that rings very true. That's why I identify so much with, one of my favorite films, which is yours also, The Color Purple, which for me as a child watching that growing up, it was literally like the skeleton of a survival map. It was almost like I could see my life and understand better what I was going through and what I was going to have to go through, but eventually it was going to get better. And that's what that film did for me. And I think that I'm not the only Black person or Black child that films did for. And so, I think that's another reason why I inspired so much to be in show business, and why so many young Black teens and young Black people identify with that film. But once again, there are no resources to help us. There are no homeless shelters. There are no centers that help us focus on the needs that we have within our own community, that we face. Because most gay people that I know, if you give them a way to feed themselves, that's exactly what they're going to do. A lot of us are severely independent, but that can't happen for us when society doesn't allow us to have that job, or if we do have a job, work that job in peace, or have to be worried about, where one situation can be safe for us. Now we have to worry about someone who's a Bible beater, ready to throw scriptures and verses at us, and convict us for being exactly who we are, when truly we just want to exist. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And it's I don't know about the religious community, because like I said, church people will go and watch Tyler Perry in a play all day. Even
Correct.
before Nipsey Russell, when he was Geraldine. Who was the comedian who just passed maybe last week? The white guy who was always in a dress and makeup. And it seems like
Oh, Dame
wasn't a
Edna.
problem. It wasn't a problem. It wasn't a problem. But I don't know now, like, like the people are no longer okay with being oppressed. Like,
I think that it being disguised as hate or religious beliefs is actually what they're distracting us with. I think this is about money at the end of the day. Someone has been able to turn this into a multi-billion-dollar business beyond what it once was, where it was just a hobby for punks to do in the dark. Now it's something that has become a multi-billion-dollar business. So therefore Uncle Sam is going to try their best to cut into that, and I think that that's what's going on here, low key. In my opinion, I think it's about money, and I think that that's how they keep us divided and they keep us distracted. They make us think that it's it's a threat to our children. Oh, it's for hate. Oh, it's because we don't accept this and this is obscene. But truthfully, it's about the money.
And that's probably the same reason why prostitution is illegal. But they're not out here really going to bat in the legislative houses. Like, they are obsessed. Right now, they are obsessed.
Correct. You got people running up in schools and churches shooting shit up, and literally they're worried about, boys in dresses. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you too. It didn't take a black man to put on a dress to be feared. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's why I said what I said as far as black children and black youth being subjected to the things that they go through, because at the end of the day, no one is trying to take the time to understand us or see our perspective or to feel where we're coming from. I don't care what resources we have out here today. It's still not enough. It's still not enough, and I don't know if it's ever truly going to be enough, because it's a chain reaction that only gets bigger. And for my situation,
that's what I mean when I say, when they out here saying that they're pro-life, they're really pro-birth. Because if we were pro-life, we would be concerned about young, gay, homeless people who don't have even a shelter that they can go to.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the shelters, if a boy is 12 years old, he can't even come there with his mom. Like, what is a parent supposed to do who's homeless, who has a boy who's older than 12 years old?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if we're really pro-life, we're concerned about all life. And the same thing with the Black Lives Matter movement. Like, if you believe Black Lives Matter, you believe all Black Lives Matter. You believe.
And while we were on the subject of shelters, I just thought this would be an interesting thing to mention. If someone is transgender or identify differently outside the traditional role of what is a man and they were born a male, there are shelters that they are not allowed to stay in. They can't stay in the women's, they can't stay in the men's. You have no choice but to stay on the street and to make a way to provide your own self, shelter. And it's a heartbreaking situation for many. And so some people would be like, well, just stop living that way. Just stop dressing that way. For some of us, it's just not that easy. We can't help but be who we are. For me, I've learned to teach myself to be lenient with it. I tuck away certain parts of me around certain people. And I do that to keep the peace, not because I'm worried with anybody, but because I know me and my capabilities. So I try to keep those things on ice, I don't have the bail money. So
Dennis, and I know, like, I have seen you are a trailblazer. I'm gonna say that, because these videos that are on TikTok right now, where people are acting like other people, like, you were doing this before I ever heard of TikTok. Like, it was a Facebook. You could find you being everybody in a skit. And so, where do you think you draw your creativity from? Where does that come from? Because you are hilarious. Like, anybody who, if they have gone to your Facebook page this week, because when we put out the flyer, we shared it on our At the Helm page, but you also shared it on your page. You tagged me. So anybody who knows me, who saw that, who has gone to your page and just looked, because your page, I guess, much like your life, is an open book. It's a public page. So whatever you say is out there for whoever to consume it.
Well, I'm 6'4", 425 pounds. I carry it well, and actually, I shaved off 100 because I'm actually 525 pounds. I really am. And yeah, so ain't nobody finna roll up on me, honey. They know better than that. And I'm a bullock. You know what I'm saying? I wish I would look. Let me tell you something. This is why I try to tell people and stress people all the time. I am not confused. I know I am a man. If I got to hit you, I'm gonna put every piece of chicken and oxtail I've ever ate in my life behind one of these, and I'm gonna knock you back to God. Don't touch me. Don't bother me. Your best bet is to be nice and leave me in peace. I'm not a violent person, but don't underestimate me.
Don't try me.
Correct. And that's how you have to be. And I imagine anybody, regardless of your identity or your sexuality, that's how you have to be in the world that we live in. You know, I think you have to know what you want and make sure you have what it takes to get what you want, and to understand that sometimes what you want is not the purpose that God puts on your life. And so that's where I have become torn between, where not necessarily torn, but I'll put it this way. I never let go of God, or never let go of the church. Regardless of who I had to be in this world, I knew who God was. When the world became a cold place where I didn't know what the next move was going to be, or as I walked on the street sometime, homeless with nowhere to go, you know, I held on to God. I knew better was coming. And sometimes I sit back and I think to myself, like, wow, like, how am I still here? You know, because it seemed like only yesterday I was walking the streets in Chapel Hill, and then here we are 23 years later, and I'm going back to do a farewell show. And so that's why I say, for me, it's almost like a spiritual completion. It was almost like my life won't let me have the next phase of my life if I didn't go back and do that.
That's an awesome full circle. And so it's interesting that you say, you know, you love God. You never left God. You never left the church. Even in your darkest hour. I mean, some people are not, they don't really understand that connection. And I'm going to say people in the church and people outside, the people who don't know God really can't understand how you can be homeless on the street and still love God. People in the church can't understand like how they think you should be. Like this life that you live, and that God doesn't love you. That's the part that they don't understand. That's what they don't get. This is where we get all the backlash from. And it's interesting too, then, is that you know, the Bible was the first book ever distributed publicly for public consumption. And I think that's not like, that wasn't a mistake. And so, like I said, our grandmothers were friends, and they both loved the Lord. They love Jesus. There were things that they believed. There were things that I had to evolve from, because that was what I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was, being a homosexual was an abomination. Like, that's like the only time you ever hear the word abomination is when they're talking about when people are talking about sexuality, which is odd for me.
Or when they need to weaponize God in order to make their point, or to make themselves feel relevant or right. You know, people manipulate so much of the Bible and take things out of context. And then it leads me to one of my favorite sayings: it's sinners like you that keep sinners like me away from the church. Wow. But, you know, I grew up in the church, and I know the difference.
Hold on. Rewind that.
Say that for the people in the back one time. Say it for the people in the back. They didn't hear it.
Oh, it's sinners like you that keep sinners like me away from the church.
My God.
That's good. That's good.
You know, and so at the same time, I've always felt chosen by God. I knew that I was going to go through a lot at a young age. I didn't necessarily know it was going to be the situation that I have actually been through. But at the same time, I knew that whatever it was, I wasn't weak. I was built to endure, if that makes sense. And so I think the hardest part of my enduring days are over, but at the same time, I still know that I have work to do. You know, God isn't through with me yet. And so sometimes where we feel like we've been through a lot, we've been through stages to evolve. And we have to change our perspective on what we've been through. And instead of looking at it as been through a lot, we've evolved through a lot. And it's made us into a better person, to have a better understanding, or to gain a clarity we once didn't have. And so that's something that has come to me with time, with healing, with making amends with people the best that I can, because you don't know how long you have on this earth. And unfortunately, all of the original gay friends, so to speak, the queens that I started out with, they've all deceased and passed on. And so it's just me. And so as far as the original group of friends, when I came out and I was a young gay man and doing makeup and it's just, I just know that whatever I do now with my life moving forward, it has to serve a purpose. And by serving purpose means not just telling a story and not just wearing fabulous rags, but making sure that there is a difference. In other words, those same resources that I know that are missing in my community for individuals like me are the resources that I have a responsibility to make happen. And so that's what I'm hoping to be able to do one day. I've always wanted to come back a Hollywood superstar, legend, whatever, and then literally, be able to have the resources to open up centers and, have community meals and things like that to be able to help the community. But still got some work to do. Hollywood is on the way. They just running behind. There you
go. Keep working.
Yeah, they running behind. I'm only 37. I got time.
Plenty of time. I do want to go back because Kelli mentioned your creativity. And I have been in ear distance and earshot of many of those videos. So a lot of times I may even be in another room and I hear her, laughing. And I'm like, okay, she's laughing so loud. I hear her all over the house. I'm like, what in the world? There's got to be somebody is just tickling her to death. So I would come and listen and hear those videos too. So when she asked you your creativity, so where do you draw a lot of that creativity? Where did that come from, and kind of where does that inspiration come from?
I would have to say growing up, just looking at the bright side of things, or, my twisted perspective of what it would have been like if I was in those shoes, if it was me, having to make the best of what was already a bad situation, I would say is the ingredient to my creativity. And it's what's helped me find a light, so to speak, in dark times. And so creativity, I never looked at it that way. Like, that's amazing that you guys put it in that perspective, because for me, I don't know, it comes to me. It's funny. I shoot it. I do it. And that's what it is. It's just the magic. But I guess for me, I'm trying to be a light in a dark place for somebody else, because I know what it's like not to have nothing, or for nobody to care, or to sit there and be hungry, or literally you have a problem that can be fixed for literally $2. As petty as that sounds, I know what that's like. Or to have life, snatch the rug from up under you, and can't nobody give you no understanding. Everybody wants you to explain yourself, but ain't nobody trying to do a damn thing to help you. I totally get it. That's very frustrating. So a lot of times in my life, when I didn't have no choice but to endure, I don't know, just a twisted, funny perspective came from it,
Mm-hmm. And really, that's I think that's how a lot of comedians are. Like, a lot of comedians start out young. They were the class clown because they were bullied in school. They found something that if they made people laugh, people maybe wouldn't hit them. And so
it's amazing that you said trailblazer, because I think this is important to say. First of all, I was the first Black boy and the only Black kid in all of Quaverina Middle School who had the president of the Spice Girls Club. I was president of the Spice Girls Club. I think that's important for people to know. Okay.
Very.
Yes, I was president of the Spice Girls Club.
Spice Girl.
My favorite Spice Girl, hands down, I would have to probably say was Posh.
So I think I know the one that's
she got the most money, and I'm gonna go to the money, honey.
Victoria. I don't know. And was one dating Eddie Murphy? Like, so when you remember,
yes, Scary Spice. She had a baby by Eddie Murphy after the first Boink 2.
What happened?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the firstborn, and she was pregnant. Like, she was lucky, honey. I tell you, it's a miracle God didn't give me a pair of ovaries, honey. I see why, because I promise you, I'd be sitting in we would be doing this interview in Malibu, and I'd be covered in diamonds. I promise you.
With one baby, one Eddie Murphy
It's a
baby.
blessing. God did not give me a hoo-hoo. But when it, when I'm in situations where, I don't have a hoo-hoo, I promise dudes, like, I got one on layaway, and as soon as I get it, I'm going to call them.
And that works? Does that work normally?
Yeah, it do. Sometimes it do. The clock is ticking because I got grades and stuff coming in, and I'm starting to hate everything equally. So I got to hurry up.
Okay. So I'm also live on TikTok, and so there's a question. Somebody just said, is the speaker a performer? I think if they haven't figured that out by now, they know that you are a performer. But where can people follow you? Give us your Facebook handle, your TikTok
All
handle,
your platforms.
where can people find you?
Well, first of all, be forewarned on all my platforms, honey. I'm bipolar as hell. Sometimes I have religious scripture. Sometimes I have a joke. Sometimes I'm mad. Sometimes I'm happy. Sometimes I want to love on somebody. But anyway, you can follow me on Instagram at the Linebacker Barbie.
I'm sorry, say it again.
Go ahead.
You can follow me on Instagram at the Linebacker Barbie.
The Linebacker Barbie, okay?
Yes, ma'am. The fabulous Karmyn, and that's Karmyn.
All right.
All my handles are the same on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm all over the place. Me and my homemade videos. Let me mention that because other comedians love to call me the homemade video queen back in the day. But then boom, look at God, a pandemic happened. You ain't had no choice but to make a homemade video. So guess what?
You were ahead.
I made money giving them advice, honey. Always stick to being original. People love to turn their nose up to some SHIT and act like they know everything. Well, you know what? If they knew it already, they wouldn't be sitting in the predicament that they was in, So always stick to your guns on being who you are. So that meant a lot to hear that, oh, you're a trailblazer, because I promise you I am. And for me not to get those flowers, from the same community that I've done so much for, especially the stand-up comedy community here in Charlotte. It's been a hard journey. It's been a long road, so hopefully something comes of it. If I don't become an Oscar winner, I'm going to be so mad in my grave, Miss Kelli. I'm going to be so mad.
In the grave. You're going to still be mad in the grave.
I'm going to be mad. I'm going to be laying there with my middle fingers up like this, but I ain't really doing it. I'm gonna be. That's how they gonna find me. If archaeologists ever dig me up, they gonna dig me up, giving the finger.
They gonna think it's the Wakanda forever, but no, that ain't it.
Not at all. What happened to my middle finger?
I mean, I think if it's about determination, you're definitely going to get there. Like you're gonna make it. Like you don't have any choice. You're gonna make it.
Child, I hope so. I want to work with Melissa McCartney or somebody. I'm not Tyler Perry crazy. I like Tyler Perry. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not Tyler Perry crazy. I want to work with the big wigs. Give me Viola Davis. Give me Sissy Spacek. I want those types of projects, because I'm a very serious actor. I'm very talented as a serious actor, and so I've had multiple chances, to actually, I've done about 3 films that have all been shelved. I have done countless parts as an understudy, never made it to the main stage. So it just seems like I've had this career where situation after situation, eventually the plug would be pulled on something that was so promising for so long. And after I've told all my family, my friends, it didn't happen. So therefore, you look like a fibber. You know what I'm saying? I hate that. So I've actually had a lot of that happen to me in my career. And that's just being totally honest. But it happens. So I'm just hoping that one day I get my one moment in time that I can truly prove myself to be a superior talent.
Absolutely. So I saw today that you were trying to get a haircut. It looks like maybe you eventually got a haircut, but was there an issue? Were you about to turn the barbershop upside down? Like what happened? What happened at the barbershop?
Well, see, what had happened was, I try to carry myself with class, and I don't bother nobody. You know what I'm saying? Don't start nothing, won't be nothing, okay? And so I don't care if I know I'm sitting next to a space alien. I don't bother you. I don't look at you. I don't make, you know what I'm saying? saying? I don't do that to people because you never, and I'm that way because you never know what triggers people.
Mhm.
You know, especially in Black culture, I know some of us as bullies, and we know who we are. We think it's funny that when somebody walks into the room, we do this real big laugh. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's either their shoes or their hair or something they got on. It tends to happen to some of us in school. That's when you knew you was getting ready to get picked on. Somebody started laughing. Well, for me these days, that's a trigger. Dare I walk in anywhere or go anywhere and somebody bust out laughing, and it's something in my soul will tell me that that laugh is for me.
Mm.
And I'm gonna just slap the shit out you with no hesitation. And that's why, like, some things you have to be careful.
Question first.
You may not be the one, but you don't know who you dealing with. Remember that first.
Okay.
So either have the health insurance or the life insurance or the bail money if you ain't the one. Make sure you got one of them three.
Got you. So did you get a haircut today?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Back to that. I got my hair cut, but at first they was trying to be funny because the dude that normally I go in there and see or whatever, he charged me $30 to cut my hair, and I normally give him like $55, you know, because he take good care of me. And so, anywho, I'm sitting there and he was like, Angel not here today. We'll be with you in 10 minutes. Well, 10 minutes then turned into 45 minutes. 45 minutes then turned into an hour and 20 minutes. And I'm getting mad. And I'm starting to think like, it's something up because I noticed that all their eyes keep shooting at my pretty nails. So I'm like, I know somebody ain't got no issue with me having nails. And I know I'm in here spending money and I tip well. And so by the time I done called a lift, let it be known, like pretty much I done sent out that energy wave. Hey, y'all done pissed me off, but because I ain't got on no drawers, I'm gonna walk out this door like I got some sense. Because, girl, you know me, when you got a big butt and you ain't got no drawers on, and I got on these little loose lounge pants, I ain't want to be walking out the door looking like pussy stank. You know what I'm saying? Because I was mad from cussing one of them out. So I said, God is with y'all today that I ain't got on no drawers, because I'm going to go ahead and leave like I got some sense. And that's exactly what I did after I got my hair cut, though. Like finally, when they saw that I was getting mad, this one dude finally just went ahead and accommodated me. And he cut me good. He cut me good.
Yeah, he got a little shaper. I see it. He got you.
Yeah, because I told the Lord, I said, I would really hate to flip out in here, Lord, but they trying me. They trying me. And see, what I tell people when they ask me what I do, I tell them I'm a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Show them the nails and then show them the fist. Show them the nails.
You know what I'm saying?
Nails.
I can be Catwoman or Hulk Hogan. It's up to you.
You choose.
But I like to play nice.
Well, so we know that a lot of times people have different opinions about things that they don't have relationship with. So we know that, well, 75% of white people don't have any relationship with Black people. This is why we see these racist systems that are always in place. And so I know that there's probably not a lot of people, because as much as the legislature would like for us to think, I don't think that people who perform at cabarets make up a large percentage of the population. So there's not a large, there's maybe not a lot of people who have relationship with people who do the work, who are in the industry. I'm trying not to say drag show because that's just been it's indoctrination.
I mean, you can say drag show. People know exactly what you mean. And at the same time, that's the thing. God see y'all. So I'll be damned if I'm going to skip over words or skip over or shade out truth to accommodate somebody when God done see me at my worst with everything. I'm done doing that with humans. I'm done doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the pronoun. I just want to be respectful. If you said you don't like drag shows, and I don't want to say drag shows to you. But so what I was just getting at is that
let me make something clear. You can't offend somebody like me. I am a man that goes out in public with nails and a wig. You can't offend me, honey.
Okay. All right. So,
Like I tell the men that be trying to think about putting their hands on me. Now, sir, listen, this is gonna happen one or two ways. Either you gonna beat up a boy in a dress, or you gonna get beat up by a boy in a dress. Either way, it ain't gonna be no good look.
it's not good. It's either
don't-
So
way.
just don't fight a boy in a dress.
It don't look. It's not gonna turn out good for you either way.
Right.
Honey, because look, as soon as the police come, I'ma swear up and down he was my baby daddy and he my lover.
Yep.
I'm gonna teach you not to put your hands on me again. Real.
Okay. So we only have a few minutes left in this show, so I want to give you.
I want you to go back to your question.
I was just going to talk about relationships and just knowing. Again, like I said, I've had to just really evolve from a lot of thinking. Growing up, being raised in my grandparents' house, and just being taught different things. Like I've just had to kind of evolve and grow from these things, kind of like we do with the Easter Bunny and Santa Claus. If any kids are watching.
Well, I probably step on a few toes by saying this, but I'm all for what is love, okay, regardless of color, regardless of gender. But I can only speak from the experience that I had, okay? And, my mother was white, my father was black. It's not always love. I think that two souls can give into lust, and unfortunately, children are caught up in a toxic situation where they get nothing out of it, but literally a broken heart, ashes, ruins, excuses, or anything else negative that you can think of. And this is something that continues to get swept under the rug that we don't discuss enough. Because there's so many children that suffer in a system that does not care, that we lack resources and don't have enough of, once again. So I wanted to throw that in here.
Okay. So is there, again, we're going to be closing out here in the next couple of minutes. Is there anything else that you would like to share? So again, we want to say the fabulous Karmyn will be performing at, give me the name of the place.
Captain John's Dockside, with some of the best catfish and hush puppies you have ever had, honey. We're going to have a night at Studio 54 where we playing all of the 70s classics. We talking about Donna Summer, the Bee Gees, Funky Town, Shaka Khan, Patti LaBelle, the Diana Ross, Cher. I mean, all the classics, honey. We're going to throw down. I'm going to be performing. We've got the Gwen Factor from out of Washington, D.C. We have Raleigh's own Mr. Rob Wright coming in and hosting, and the place is guaranteed to be packed. It's going to be a great night. You guys should come out especially. But showtime is 8 o'clock, but make sure you get there by 7 so you can get your order in, honey.
Now, are you producing the show, or you just part of the show?
I actually produced this show. I sure did. I like I said, John was a longtime friend of mine after giving me my first job many years ago. And I happened to call him up and I said, hey, listen, I want to do a farewell show. What's your place got going on? And he was like, sure. And he welcomed me with open arms. And so, I happened to hit up Miss Wynn because we're actually doing a movie later this year in Las Vegas called The Other Side of Healing. And it's a movie that's being produced by me. The script was written by me. And so I'm hoping to, if not my first win, my first Oscar nomination with this film. And so we're going to shoot that this fall in Las Vegas. And so that's why this move is so important. And so I'm gunning for it. But yeah, The Other Side of Healing, you can look for it in theaters or starting to play at all of the film festivals coming this summer, if not the next fall of 2024.
Sounds good.
So I don't know if we have just a few viewers still on TikTok. On Facebook. So if anybody has any questions in these last 5 minutes, go ahead and drop them. We'll answer any question.
Anyone on TikTok have a question? Anyone have a question? The fabulous Karmyn.
The fabulous Karmyn.
And for the record, I will be in drag for the show Saturday night. I meant to be in drag for this interview, but of course, given my mishap at the barbershop, running late and everything else, I wanted to be here on time to do this show. Maybe I'll come back and do some more. We'll do a part 2, and I'll be absolutely dragged down, But I had Karmyn on standby if you needed it. You know what I'm saying? I was ready. I had her on standby if y'all needed me to. You know what I'm saying?
So listen,
I have it right here. Just in case
we
people
can
got
do
mad, they wanted to protest. I got me a Beyonce wig right here.
you can come back and we can do a makeup tutorial. Because see, I'm all natural. So you can come and show me how to fill in these eyebrows, put on, this little rouge.
Oh yes, honey. Look, don't I look like Mariah Carey's fat sister?
Oh Lordy.
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it's like the older I get, girl, the more I'm starting to feel like I look like an ogre in a wig. Not even a man no more, just an ogre.
Just an ogre, huh?
Yeah, an ogre. Shrek.
Yeah,
I feel like I look like Shrek a little bit these days. Shrek and a little bit of Peter Griffin.
Shrek had a heart of gold, though, and I believe you do too.
I got a heart of gold, I sure do, but I still want to be young forever. I want to be young forever.
That's all of it. That's all of us. You said something earlier that just really, I don't want to, it was just when you said that you were comfortable in who you are, that you have a male side and a feminine side, and you are comfortable in who you are. And I think that's a challenge for a lot of people when people are comfortable in what they do and who they are. And I don't know why other people can't, maybe because other people can't be comfortable in what they are. Mm-hmm. So they take it out on people who are comfortable. But when you, that's a powerful statement, that people just need to be comfortable in who they are and who God has called them to be and the life that they live. And just be comfortable in your skin and who you are. And that just, that rubbed other people the wrong way, but that was a powerful statement when you said that. Oh yeah. For me, I know for a fact that I carry myself godly in everyday life when ain't nobody watching or when God ain't watching. I promise you, I carry myself as a godly person. So anybody that truly hates me or calls themselves hating me only hate me for the freedom they see me live in my truth every day, because I don't know what chains are. You're not going to be a person that holds anything over my head. I don't care who you are to me. The truth is the truth. If you don't like what I have to say about you, you should have chose to do better. And so it's not me trying to bully someone with it, but at the same time, if you didn't hold yourself accountable for it and it was the truth that you allowed, then you just have to own that. And so I'm not going to allow myself to be chained by that or to be felt limited or to feel less than because someone else didn't want to hold themselves accountable for the actions that they chose. And so you just have to believe in who you are every day. You have to love yourself and you have to push forward through the BS, regardless of what it is, how bad it is. If you want it bad enough, you'll get through it.
Well, Dennis, we thank you, the fabulous Karmyn, for coming in. Again, you can follow him on Twitter, the Linebacker Barbie, and across Facebook, Instagram. Do you have TikTok?
Yes, I do actually, and it's the Linebacker Barbie.
On TikTok, you following me? Let me try to follow you.
Yeah, we gotta follow each other because I'm not on TikTok like I should be. It seemed like when TikTok got popular, I was just burnt out with making the videos. I was so ready to move on to other things because, I had a Vegas show that I wanted to get off the ground and I wanted to get the movie going. I just had bigger stuff, bigger ambition because I had already gone viral several times before viral was even a thing. So,
right. Trailblazing. That's what I said. So,
absolutely.
So thank you again for coming to sit with us, for sharing. It was enlightening as always. Yes. I learned some things. Shakespeare, drag show. Sinners like you keep sending. I learned a lot. There was a lot that was shared in here that I'm going to be able to carry with me, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you once again, Miss Kelly, and thank you again, Mr. Wayne. It was an honor, and I look forward to coming back. Hopefully, I'll be glad to support anytime. I think what you guys are doing is great. But one last suggestion, y'all need to put y'all's Cash App up there for your supporters. So if they want to help finance your efforts, they have a link that they can contribute to. Because I see other podcasters do that. So I wanted to suggest that. Because, I had a hot 10 over here for y'all, but y'all ain't got no Cash App up there.
And what's your cash app? You can do
A hustler and a queen.
All
A
right.
hustler and a queen. It's spelled just like that all the way across. A hustler and a queen.
All right. So people who can't make the show on Saturday, May the 6th, can cash out a hustler and a queen. Help him get his wig on together. Get that little, his eyelashes that he got to put on. Y'all just go ahead and cash out him a few dollars. And Dennis, we'll see you again, I'm sure.
Yes, there will definitely be a part 2. We will definitely work you back in.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I absolutely look forward to it. Thank you all again.
Thank you for joining us, and we appreciate you and your transparency and wish you nothing but the best with all of your endeavors, with your movies, with your productions, and just continue to be you. And I believe if more people would be their self and be comfortable in their self, I believe we would all be a whole lot better. Because when you can love yourself, you can love somebody else. So we appreciate you and who you are. And we thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, we again are grateful for everyone joining us this evening. We are thankful again for the fabulous Karmyn joining us this evening, and we hope everyone enjoyed our show this evening. And thank you for joining us, and continue to find us Kelli and Wayne at the Helm with Kelli and Wayne on our Facebook page and on our YouTube
and I don't think
page.
y'all are not following directions, because we said like the page, like at the Helm, and I think 12 of y'all liked it now. Like the page, it don't cost you nothing. Like it, share it.
It's free.
It's free. We're gonna go ahead and try to shake up these algorithms. If y'all are trying to help the Wilhelms have our little grandkid fun, because they like spending up the money.
Definitely.
Like the page and share it.
All right. Until next time. Again, we appreciate it.
Oh, and drop any other any comments in the chat. Anything that you want to see Kelli and Wayne talk about, drop it in the chat and let us know.
Definitely. So until next time, everyone be good and enjoy.